At exactly 2:43 a.m., the phone rang. It was raining outside. Marcus Hamilton didn't know that one call would change everything. He was sitting in his office on the 70th floor, high above London, when his security chief spoke through the intercom. "Sir, you need to look at the nursery camera, right now." Marcus had built his company from nothing. Now it was worth £15 billion. He often got late-night calls about business problems. He was used to stress. But nothing prepared him for what he was about to see. He opened his laptop and checked the live camera in the nursery. Keisha, the nanny, was there. She was holding his 8-month-old baby Oliver, but she wasn't rocking him. She was breastfeeding him. Not with a bottle, with her own body. Marcus froze. His heart stopped for a moment. "Hello, friends. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please support me by subscribing to my channel. Like and share this video to your family and friends. I truly appreciate your kind heart. So, let's begin." His hands trembled as he replayed the footage. There was no mistake. Keisha Thompson, the 26-year-old woman he'd hired 6 months ago to care for Oliver, was breastfeeding his son. His motherless son, whose own mother had died giving birth to him just 8 months earlier. Marcus slammed the laptop shut and stormed out of his office, his expensive Italian shoes echoing through the empty marble corridors of his mansion. His heart pounded with rage, confusion, and something else he couldn't identify. How dare she? What kind of sick game was this? But as he climbed the grand staircase toward the nursery, another thought crept into his mind. Oliver had been sleeping better lately, crying less. The constant ear infections had stopped. The formula troubles that had plagued him for months seemed to have disappeared. Marcus paused outside the nursery door, his hand frozen on the crystal doorknob. Through the gap, he could hear Keisha's voice, soft and melodic, singing a lullaby he didn't recognize. It was beautiful, peaceful. Everything his house hadn't been since Victoria died. He pushed the door open slowly. Keisha looked up from the rocking chair, her dark eyes wide with terror. Oliver was still at her breast, finally quiet after hours of crying. Her hands shook as she tried to cover herself, but Marcus held up a hand. "Don't move," he whispered. "Don't wake him." They stared at each other across the moonlit room. Marcus had never really looked at Keisha before. Not really. She was just the help. The nanny with perfect references who kept Oliver alive while Marcus drowned himself in work. But now he saw her clearly for the first time. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that. She looked at Oliver the way Victoria used to look at him during those brief moments when she held him before the complications took her life. Like he was the most precious thing in the world. "How long?" Marcus asked, his voice barely audible. 3 months. Keisha whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I know how this looks. I know you're going to fire me, but please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you've been secretly nursing my son for 3 months? That you've been lying to me every single day?" Keisha flinched at his words. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I tried everything else first, I swear. But he was so sick, Mr. Hamilton, so hungry all the time. The formula made him throw up. He wasn't gaining weight. The doctor said he might need to go to hospital." Marcus remembered those dark weeks. Oliver had been failing to thrive. 3 different pediatricians, countless tests, expensive specialty formulas. Nothing worked. He'd been terrified he was going to lose his son the same way he'd lost his wife. But then he got better, Marcus said slowly, the pieces clicking into place. 3 months ago, suddenly he was fine. Keisha nodded, unable to speak. "How?" Marcus demanded. "How do you have milk? Do you have a baby?" The question hit Keisha like a physical blow. She doubled over, sobbing silently so she wouldn't wake Oliver. "I had a baby," she whispered. "Had. Past tense." Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. What happened? His name was Daniel. He would have been 10 months old now. He died at 6 weeks. SIDS. Sudden infant death syndrome. Keisha's voice broke completely. "I woke up one morning and he was just gone." Marcus sank into the chair across from her, all his anger suddenly drained away. Jesus, Keisha, I'm so sorry. I still had milk, she continued, rocking Oliver gently. Lots of milk. The doctors said it would dry up eventually, but it didn't. For months I had to pump and throw it away. It was torture. A constant reminder of what I'd lost. She looked down at Oliver's peaceful face. When I started working here, Oliver reminded me so much of Daniel. Same age Daniel would have been. Same way of crying when he was hungry. Same little fists when he was angry. Marcus watched her trace Oliver's tiny fingers with her own. The night you went to that business dinner in Scotland, Oliver was so sick. Throwing up everything, crying for hours. I'd tried every formula, every bottle, every trick I knew. I was about to call you home when... When what? I just held him against me, skin to skin. Sometimes that helps calm babies. But he found what he was looking for. And for the first time in weeks, he stopped crying. He drank. He slept. The room fell silent except for the soft sound of Oliver's breathing. I told myself it was just that once, Keisha continued. Just to get him through the night. But he was so much better the next day. Alert. Happy. Gaining weight. I couldn't take that away from him. Marcus stared at this woman who had been saving his son's life while he was busy building his empire. Why didn't you tell me? Keisha laughed bitterly. Tell you what? That your black nanny was nursing your dead wife's baby? That I was giving him what his own mother couldn't? How does that conversation go, Mr. Hamilton? The words stung because they were true. Marcus realized he barely knew anything about Keisha beyond her resume. He'd hired her because she had experience and references. He'd never asked about her life, her family, her loss. You could have trusted me, he said quietly. Could I? Keisha challenged. You haven't spoken more than 10 words to me since I started working here. You leave before Oliver wakes up and come home after he's asleep. I wasn't sure you'd even notice if he was healthy or sick. That hurt worse than anything, because it was absolutely true. Marcus had thrown himself into work after Victoria died. 18-hour days, constant travel, merger deals and board meetings and anything that kept him from facing the empty house, the quiet nursery, the son who looked exactly like the wife he'd lost. I noticed, Marcus said finally. I noticed he was getting better. I just didn't know why. Oliver stirred in Keisha's arms, making small, contented sounds. Even in sleep, he seemed to know he was safe. What happens now? Keisha asked. I know I should have told you. I know I overstepped. But Marcus, he's thriving. Look at him. Marcus did look. Really look. Oliver was chubby and pink and healthy. His hair had grown in thick and dark like Victoria's. His eyes were bright blue like Marcus's own. He looked like a baby who was loved and well cared for. The milk, Marcus said. It's good for him? Better than formula? Keisha nodded. Breast milk has antibodies, protection against illness. It's designed specifically for babies. That's why he stopped getting sick. They sat in silence for several minutes. Marcus's mind raced through possibilities. The scandal if this got out. The media circus. The questions about his fitness as a father. But mostly he thought about Oliver. Happy, healthy Oliver who was finally thriving. I need to know everything, Marcus said finally. About you. About Daniel. About why you didn't trust me enough to tell me the truth. Over the next 2 hours, as Oliver slept peacefully between them, Keisha told Marcus her story. She'd grown up in Birmingham, the daughter of a nurse and a teacher. She'd gone to university, studied child development, worked in nurseries and private homes across England. She'd married her university boyfriend, Robert, when she was 24. We tried for 3 years to have a baby, she said. Fertility treatments, specialists, everything. When I finally got pregnant with Daniel, we thought it was a miracle. Daniel had been perfect. Healthy pregnancy, easy delivery, beautiful baby boy. For 6 weeks, Keisha had been the happiest she'd ever been. I put him down for his afternoon nap, she said, her voice barely a whisper. 2 hours later, I went to check on him and he was gone. Just gone. No warning, no explanation. The doctors said these things just happen sometimes. Robert couldn't handle the grief. Their marriage fell apart within months. Keisha threw herself into work, taking care of other people's children because she couldn't bear the thought of her empty house. When I saw your job posting, I almost didn't apply, she admitted. A motherless baby the same age Daniel would have been. It seemed like torture. But something made me send my resume anyway. Victoria interviewed you, Marcus remembered. 2 weeks before Oliver was born. She was so excited about being a mother, Keisha said with a sad smile. She kept talking about all the things she wanted to do with him, the places she wanted to take him. She made me promise to love him like my own if anything happened to her. Marcus felt his chest tighten. She said that? She had a feeling, Keisha said. Mother's intuition, maybe. She made me swear I'd take care of him no matter what. They were both crying now, thinking about Victoria and her fierce love for the son she'd barely got to hold. I've been keeping that promise, Keisha said. Maybe not in the way she imagined, but I've been loving him like my own. As dawn broke over London, Marcus made a decision that would shock everyone who knew him. I want you to keep doing it, he said. Keisha stared at him. What? The nursing, taking care of him, all of it. But no more secrets. We do this properly. Marcus, I don't think you understand what you're saying. People will talk. The media will have a field day. Your reputation. I don't care about my reputation, Marcus said firmly. I care about my son. And he's never been healthier or happier than he has been these past 3 months. But it wasn't that simple, and they both knew it. The next few weeks were complicated. Marcus started coming home earlier, wanting to be part of Oliver's routine. He watched Keisha feed him, change him, play with him. He saw the deep bond between them and felt both grateful and jealous. Teach me, he said one evening after Oliver had fallen asleep. Teach you what? How to be his father. Really be his father, not just the man who pays the bills. So Keisha taught him. How to read Oliver's different cries, how to burp him without making a mess, how to give him a bath without making him scream, how to play peekaboo and pat-a-cake and all the simple games that made Oliver laugh. Marcus was amazed by how much he'd missed. Oliver's first tooth had come in weeks ago, but Marcus had been in New York on business. Oliver could sit up on his own now, could clap his hands, could say something that almost sounded like mama when he looked at Keisha. He said mama, Marcus said one evening, his voice tight with emotion. He's babbling, Keisha said quickly. All babies make those sounds. But they both knew better. To Oliver, Keisha was mama, the woman who fed him and comforted him and sang to him in the dark. The arrangement worked well for a month. Marcus began to think they could make it work long term. Then the pictures surfaced. A photographer with a telephoto lens had been watching the house. Photos of Keisha pushing Oliver in his pram through Hyde Park. Photos of her carrying him into shops, cuddling him on park benches. Photos that looked to anyone who didn't know better like a young black woman with her mixed-race baby. The tabloids went wild. Hamilton's love child, screamed one headline. Billionaire's secret baby mama, declared another. The photos were everywhere. Social media exploded with speculation. Was Marcus Hamilton having an affair with his nanny? Was Oliver actually her child? Had he been lying about his wife's death? Marcus's phone rang constantly. His PR team was in crisis mode. His board of directors called an emergency meeting. You have to fire her, his lawyer advised. Distance yourself immediately. The optics are terrible. But Marcus surprised everyone with his response. Instead of firing Keisha, he called a press conference. Standing in front of dozens of cameras and reporters, Marcus told the truth. All of it. My son Oliver was failing to thrive on formula, he said calmly. His nanny, Keisha Thompson, had recently lost her own infant son and still had breast milk. She made the difficult decision to nurse Oliver, and it saved his life. The room erupted in questions. Are you having a relationship with Ms. Thompson? No. Is Oliver your biological son? Yes. Oliver is the son of my late wife, Victoria, and myself. Why didn't you seek medical help instead? We did. Multiple doctors, specialists, different formulas. Nothing worked until Keisha stepped in. What's your relationship with Ms. Thompson now? Marcus paused, looking back at where Keisha stood with Oliver in her arms. Keisha is family, he said finally. She's the woman who saved my son's life when I was too consumed with grief to do it myself. She's been more of a mother to Oliver than I've been a father. The media circus that followed was intense but brief. Most people, once they understood the full story, were supportive. Medical experts confirmed that breast milk from a healthy woman was indeed better for babies than formula. Child development specialists praised the bond between Keisha and Oliver. There were critics, of course, people who thought the arrangement was inappropriate, people who made ugly comments about race and social boundaries, but for every negative voice, there were 10 positive ones. Letters poured in from around the world, other parents who had faced similar struggles, wet nurses and milk donors sharing their stories, medical professionals offering support. The story became less about scandal and more about love, about family, about the lengths people will go to for the children in their care. But the media attention changed everything in the Hamilton household. I can't stay, Keisha told Marcus one evening. This is too much. Oliver will grow up with cameras following him everywhere. People will always whisper about us, about our relationship. It's not fair to him. Marcus felt panic rise in his chest. You can't leave. Oliver needs you. I need you. You'll find another nanny, someone without all this baggage. I don't want another nanny, Marcus said desperately. I want you. Oliver wants you. You're his mother in every way that matters. Keisha was crying now. But I'm not, am I? I'm just the woman who happened to have milk when he needed it. You could find someone else to feed him bottles now. He's old enough. This isn't about the milk anymore, and you know it, Marcus said. This is about love. Oliver loves you. You love him. That's not replaceable. They were standing in the nursery where it all began. Oliver was asleep in his crib, blissfully unaware of the adult drama surrounding him. What are you suggesting? Keisha asked. Marcus took a deep breath. What he was about to say would shock everyone, including himself. Marry me. Keisha stared at him like he'd lost his mind. What did you just say? Marry me. Legally adopt Oliver. Make this official. Make us a real family. Marcus, you can't be serious. We barely know each other. We're not in love. This is crazy. Is it? Marcus challenged. We're already living like a family. We're already raising Oliver together. We already care about each other. Why not make it legal? Because marriage should be about love, not convenience. Who says this is just about convenience? Marcus stepped closer. Keisha, you're the first person who's made me want to come home since Victoria died. When I see you with Oliver, when I see how happy you make him, it makes me happy too. I look forward to our conversations at dinner. I like watching you sing to him at bedtime. I like the way you've made this house feel like a home again. Keisha shook her head. That's not love, Marcus. That's gratitude. Maybe it's both, Marcus said. Maybe that's enough to start with. They talked for hours that night, about love and marriage and family and what it all meant, about the practical aspects of their situation and the emotional ones, about Oliver and what would be best for him. In the end, it was Oliver who decided for them. The next morning, Keisha was packing her bags when Oliver woke up crying. Marcus tried to comfort him, but Oliver wanted Keisha. When she picked him up, he stopped crying immediately. When she tried to put him down so she could continue packing, he screamed. He knows, Marcus said, watching his son cling to Keisha. He knows you're leaving. Keisha looked down at Oliver's tearful face and felt her heart break. How could she leave this child who had become everything to her? How could she abandon him the way everyone else in his short life had? Okay, she whispered. Okay. Okay. I'll marry you. For Oliver. To give him stability and security and legal protection. But Marcus... She looked at him seriously. This has to be real, not just a business arrangement. If we're going to be a family, we have to really be a family. Marcus nodded. I want that too. The wedding was small and private. Just them, Oliver, a minister, and 2 witnesses. Keisha wore a simple white dress. Marcus wore his best suit. Oliver wore a tiny tuxedo and gurgled happily throughout the ceremony. The media called it the wedding of the year, but for Marcus and Keisha, it was just the beginning of their real story. Learning to be married was harder than either of them expected. They had separate bedrooms and polite conversations and careful boundaries, but slowly, as they raised Oliver together, something shifted. Marcus began to see Keisha not just as Oliver's caregiver, but as a woman. A brilliant, funny, strong woman who had survived incredible loss and still chose to love. He saw how she lit up when Oliver smiled, how she worried when he had even the smallest cold, how she celebrated every milestone like it was the greatest achievement in history. Keisha began to see Marcus not just as her employer, but as a man. A grieving widower who was learning to be a father, who worked so hard to provide for his family, who was kinder and funnier than she'd ever imagined. The first time Marcus kissed her was 6 months after their wedding. Oliver had taken his first steps, wobbling from Keisha's arms into Marcus's, and they were both laughing and crying with joy. In the excitement, Marcus grabbed Keisha and kissed her without thinking. They froze, staring at each other. I'm sorry, Marcus said. I didn't mean... I'm not sorry, Keisha interrupted. Are you? Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, and realized something had changed. Somewhere between the late-night feedings and the family dinners and the quiet conversations after Oliver was asleep, he had fallen in love with his wife. No, he said. I'm not sorry at all. Their second kiss was slower, deeper, full of promise. 1 year after their marriage, they moved into the same bedroom. 2 years after that, Keisha was pregnant with their daughter, Emma. 3 years after that, they welcomed their son, James. Oliver grew up knowing the truth about his birth mother and his nursing mother. He called Keisha Mum and spoke proudly about his baby sister and brother. He never questioned why their family looked different from others. To him, this was just family. When Oliver turned 5, a journalist asked him about his unusual family story. My mum saved my life when I was a baby, Oliver said matter-of-factly. She had milk because God knew I would need it. That's what my dad says. The journalist asked if he remembered being nursed by Keisha. No, Oliver said, but I remember feeling safe. I always feel safe with my mum and dad. Marcus and Keisha framed that quote and hung it in their bedroom. 10 years after that fateful night when Marcus discovered Keisha nursing Oliver, they renewed their wedding vows. This time, it was a celebration with family and friends. Oliver, now 10, walked his mother down the aisle. Emma and James were flower girl and ring bearer. In his vows, Marcus spoke about the night that changed everything. I thought I was catching you doing something wrong, he said to Keisha. But you were doing something so right that it saved all of us. You taught me that family isn't about blood or race or what people expect. It's about showing up. It's about love. It's about making the hard choices when someone needs you. In her vows, Keisha spoke about finding love in the darkest time. I thought I was just keeping a promise to a dying mother, she said. But I was also finding my own family. Marcus, you gave me permission to love your son like my own. Then you taught me that I deserved to be loved like your own too. The photographer captured the moment when they kissed, with their 3 children cheering in the background. The photo would later become famous as a symbol of modern family love. But for Marcus and Keisha, it was just another moment in their beautiful, complicated, perfectly imperfect life together. The story that had started with scandal and shock had become something much more powerful, a testament to the transformative power of love, sacrifice, and choosing family over fear. And it all began at 2:43 a.m. on a rainy Thursday morning when a billionaire discovered that sometimes the most shocking thing a person can do is exactly what needs to be done. Sometimes love shows up in the most unexpected ways, at the most unexpected times, with the most unexpected people. Sometimes the person who saves your child's life ends up saving your own life too. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, a moment of crisis becomes the foundation for the greatest love story of your life. Marcus and Keisha Hamilton knew all of this to be true. They lived it every day, in their house filled with laughter and children and the kind of love that grows stronger with time. The security cameras that had once captured a secret now recorded ordinary family moments. Bedtime stories and birthday parties and Sunday morning pancakes. The chaos and joy of a house where love had conquered every obstacle. It was exactly the kind of family Victoria had dreamed of for her son. Exactly the kind of love Daniel would have wanted for his mother. And exactly the kind of miracle that happens when people choose love over fear, understanding over judgment, and family over everything else. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching. Please support me by subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to like and share this video. It means the world to me. Take care of yourself and never forget how much you're loved. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Sending you all my love.